for today is the second cervical vertebra, that is axis. The second cervical vertebra, or axis as we all know it, this is the anterior surface, this is the posterior surface. The body of the axis on the superior surface is fused with dens, or the odontoid process. This dens, it articulates with atlas at the oval facet. This is atlas, and it articulates with the oval facet anteriorly, and this is the oval facet of the atlas, where the anterior surface of the dens articulates like this, forming the Atlanto-Axial Joint, whereas the posterior surface of the dens, it articulates with the transverse ligament of atlas right here. So it articulates like this. The superior surface of axis, it is further encroached upon by superior articular facets on each side, as we can clearly see here. The inferior surface of the body of axis has a prominent anterior margin. This is the inferior surface of the body of axis. This is axis, the superior body, and the inferior body. It has the anterior margin, which is quite prominent, ultimately hiding the intervertebral discs. The anterior surface, it also presents a median ridge on each side, so it leaves hollow impressions. We move on to the vertebral arc. The pedicles are completely occupied by the superior articular facets. On the inferior surface, we have wide and deep inferior vertebral notch that are placed in front of the inferior articular facets. These are the inferior articular facets. The superior vertebral notch, well, it is quite shallow and is placed on the upper border of the lamina. The lamina, they are thick. These laminae, they are thick and strong. Now each superior articular facet, it occupies the upper surface of the body on each side. It also occupies the transverse foramina. As you can clearly see, they are overlapping the transverse foramina here as well. It is large, they are flat, they are circular, which is directed upwards and laterally. It articulates with the inferior facet of the atlas to form the Atlanto-Axial Joint. Each inferior articular facet, it lies posterior to the transverse process. These are the inferior articular facets which lie posterior to the transverse processes, and they join with the superior articular facet of the third cervical vertebra. The transverse processes, they are quite small. As you can see here, they are quite small, and they have only true posterior tubercles. The anterior tubercles are absent here. Only true posterior tubercles are present. The spine, it is large and thick, and it's quite strong. It is deeply grooved inferiorly. This is a deep groove on the inferior surface, as we can see. The tip is bifurcated, it's bifid, and it terminates into two rough tubercles. It terminates into two rough tubercles. This is axis.